James Harden finally got his trade demand, and now he's a Brooklyn Net. All right, situations arose that kind of pressured the Brooklyn Nets into making this deal. With the recent situation with Kyrie Irving going MIA on the team, it became imminent that they bring in another star, and it cost them their best inside interior defender in Jared Allen to bring in the beard. Pairing James Harden with Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, Steve Nash, and Mike D'Antoni looks to be primed to lead the team to an NBA title. But can it actually work? How can these stars work in unison now that their best playmaker in Spencer Dinwiddie has gone down? I've been a big proponent, big believer that stars make it work. But we didn't see that in Houston with James Harden and John Wall.
We're just not good enough. We don't obviously chemistry, talent-wise, just everything. And it was clear, like I said, these last few games, they just, from the beginning of the game, they were just aggressive, veteran team, obviously, championship team, and, one of the best teams that we have in this league. I love this city. I literally, have done everything that I can. This situation is crazy. It's something that I don't think can be fixed. So, thanks.
This outburst by James Harden led to massive amounts of criticism and ultimately led to the trade, which landed James Harden in Brooklyn. Caris LeVert was moved to the Pacers. Jared Allen and Taurean Prince land in Cleveland. Rodin Skarooks with Houston. And Dante Exum also eventually ends in Houston, with Victor Oladipo being traded for Caris LeVert. So when we look at the aspects of this potential trade, how can Steve Nash really make this pairing work? And today we're going to be breaking down aspects of Brooklyn's offense and aspects of what the Rockets ran with James Harden, and how Steve Nash and the Brooklyn Nets can make it work so that this team can compete for NBA championships. Support for the show, FYF Sports, is brought to you by Manscaped, who's the best in men's below-the-waist grooming. Manscaped offers precision engineered tools for your family jewels. Manscaped is trusted by over 2 million men worldwide. Join the movement for all of your below-the-waist grooming needs. Get 20% off and free shipping with coupon code FYFCREW at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com. Use the code FYFCREW. Your balls will thank you. It's FYF Sports, man. It's Lamont. We back with another podcast episode, and as you guys can see today, we're going into our NBA film study, because we really need to analyze and break down how the Houston Rockets can implement James Harden and what he does best with regards to playmaking and shot making to fit in perfectly with what this team needs to win a championship. Before we get started with the video today, make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell to the video if you have not done so already. Man, the grind to 20K, again, it's been slow and steady, but we've been gradually getting there. I think we're at about 18,400 subscribers and moving up. Look forward to doing that 20K subscriber live subscription live stream. That's going to be epic, to just kind of share that moment with you guys when we do hit 20K. But until then, we're just going to keep dropping these videos. We're going to continue to go live, and just continuing doing what we do best here at FYF Sports. Again, make sure you guys smash the notification bell. I know a lot of you guys are subscribed, but make sure you smash that notification bell so that you receive those post notifications when we go live or when we drop videos. We're going to start going live in the mornings as well as in the evenings. There have been a lot of you guys who've been saying that you want to jump on the panel, but sometimes you're not available in the evening for whatever reason. So what we're going to just try to do, and again, it may not be something we do every day, but if we can do it 3 to 4 times a week, I think that would be perfect. Is just, again, going live maybe 1 to 2 hours in the morning, just to kind of give you guys a platform and a voice as well, because I would love to hear from you guys with regards to a lot of these topics that we speak on, especially those viewers that can only join the lives in the morning. So make sure you smash the like, hit the subscribe, and hit the post notification bell so you can know exactly when we're going live, whether it's in the morning or the evening. But like I said today, we really got to get to this NBA film study. We've already went through criticizing James Harden. We've already criticized Kyrie Irving for both of the the situations that those players are going through right now. I think it's time that we move past that particular situation with both of those players, and now we focus on what is this going to look like on the court. Because ultimately, these 3 guys will end up playing NBA basketball together, and I've always been a big proponent of great players usually always figure it out. I don't think there's really been a time in NBA history where you've had this caliber of skill level on the perimeter, and just when great players just don't figure it out. When you're dealing with 2 MVPs, when you're dealing with an NBA champion and Kyrie Irving, I think somebody is gonna, for the collective good, take a lesser role. Not particularly sure who is going to be. I think we're just going to have to see what type of offense they run, who they're going to make through, to really identify who's going to be the one to sacrifice, at least scoring wise. And we just kind of have to accept the fact that this is probably not going to be the best defensive team in the NBA. But when you got 3 stars like this, you definitely have the weapons to be, not just a great offensive team, but I think this team, if everything meshes perfectly, could potentially go down as the greatest offensive team in NBA history. But again, it takes a lot of time, a lot of hard work, and a lot of pieces have to fall in place to make this work. So Steve Nash and Mike D'Antoni have a lot of work to do to get this to gel. But when I was doing my film study on both teams, when I looked at the Houston Rockets, when I looked at the Brooklyn Nets, there was one particular offensive set that I saw both teams run a lot. And we're going to be breaking down aspects of that particular offense when we go to the drawing board, so I can help you guys understand how this team is going to be effective on the offensive end of the court, and why integrating James Harden into this offense is going to be much easier than a lot of people will assume. All right. The casual NBA fan, the casual analyst is going to tell you all 3 of these guys are, shoot the ball a lot and they need the ball a lot to score. But again, when you take a deeper look into this, you'll see some things that might be a bit concerning if you're not a fan of the Brooklyn Nets. And, if you're a Laker fan, some of the things that I was able to identify could be a bit worrisome, especially with James Harden's playmaking ability. So we're going to go ahead and get over to the drawing board to kind of break this down and help explain to you guys what I've seen that could be one of the biggest offensive advantages for the Brooklyn Nets team if we can get all 3 of these superstars to mesh and play on the same page. All right, so we got the drawing board here. What I'm going to do is I'm just kind of break down the base offensive set that the Brooklyn Nets like to run. The base offensive set is called horns. They love to run a lot of actions off this. They love to run a lot of pin downs and double stagger screens for guys like either Joe Harris. They even did this for Spencer Dinwiddie. They've definitely done it for Karis LeVert. Anybody who plays off ball on this team can really excel if they can make open shots out of this horn set. And the best thing about horn set as well is it puts guys like KD in prime ISO positions to score in favorable spots. So with the horn set, it's an offense that allows you to choose where you want to attack. All right, there's no set place the ball needs to go. It gives the point guard full authority to choose how the offense evolves. So what I'm going to break down, I'm just going to go ahead and let this play through here, so I can show you how before James Harden got to the Brooklyn Nets, how they implemented the horn set using Kevin Durant. So as we can see here, we got two bigs at the elbow. We got Jared Allen and KD. Now, again, they're interchanging. They're screening for each other. In horn set, you don't have to do that. I think sometimes you do this just to create a little bit of action so guys aren't standing around. And it also gives Kevin Durant just a little bit of easier ability to get the ball if he has a smaller, quicker guard on him who might be able to jump into those passing lanes. All right, so we got KD here. He's switching with Jared Allen. He gets it off the horn set. Now, as soon as he catches the ball, Joe Harris, who was in this corner because both of the elbows are filled, he's immediately cutting off of a pin down, and he's hitting off this double stagger screen. So we watch Joe Harris. All right, KD is patient. He hits Joe Harris. Joe Harris takes and makes the three. Actually misses in that case. Now, that's very different from what we've seen with James Harden. You're running a lot of ISO sets, especially this year, because he wasn't really willing to capitulate to Paul Silas's traditional offense. But we're used to seeing James Harden, just go one-on-one off ball screens, just making ridiculously tough threes, as you see right here. And those are the threes that just kind of break the back of your opponent. He's also head hunting to get to the free throw line, creating contact, as you can see there. But one thing with James Harden, the one thing that he doesn't get credit for is that he can, within the scope of an offense, move without the ball. I think there is a very, I think there, from when you talk to basketball fans, because they don't watch what goes on off ball, unless your name is Steph Curry, they just assume that James Harden can only play with the ball in his hands, which actually, if you look at the footage, is not true at all. And I'll break that down as well, because even the Houston Rockets run certain aspects of horns or pistol actions. And James Harden does a great job of moving without the ball in certain situations when motivated. So we're going to kind of show you here. And that's just another chuck up right there. But, as you can see, and this is a pistol action set. This is a pistol set right here where, we have Daniel House. Again, instead of, the guard is overplanned because they know that the pistol handoff is coming. James Harden, playing without the ball, does a great job of cutting off his man to get to the basket for a layup. All right. And these are the basic cuts that he's going to need to do to get open. These are the basic cuts that he would need to do to get open, in the horn set. And so if we take that back, just imagine. I want you guys just to imagine, out of this horn set, if that's James Harden cutting without the ball. All right. How lethal he could be. Obviously his shots would be less, but it would just take less for him to score. All right. So the offense would develop in a similar fashion. All right. Just transition. Like, let's say we take Joe Harris out of some of these plays and put in James Harden, and the offense could work beautifully. As we saw right there. And I want to take that. I got to show you guys that one more time. And again, instead of Karis LeVert bringing the ball up, imagine this is Kyrie Irving. All right. Playing off ball. All right. And we know as this transitions that James Harden can cut off ball, as you see him do right there. All right. And we have Karis LeVert cutting off the screen out of the horn set. but KD's flaring up out of the opposite corner off the pin down. Imagine if that's James Harden. I want y'all to imagine, if that's James Harden in the corner taking a very simple wide open corner three. All right, I'm gonna run that back for you guys one more time just so you can see, because I just want you guys to see the versatility of the horn set. See, a lot of people think that these sets in the NBA are always catered to one player and they're ran the exact same way every time. When you're running a horn set, you give your guards a lot of freedom to choose where they attack. I think that would be great for Kyrie Irving. It definitely will be highly unpredictable if you have KD at the elbow and you have James Harden in either corner, and you don't know whether he's going to be cutting to the basket or cutting to the ball off a pin down, because you have so many other offensive threats on the court. All right, so we see KD here. You see KD is drawing all of the attention. If KD catches the ball in the mid-range, as we see right here, and this is James Harden who sets the pin down screen for him, it's going to be really tough for teams to determine, how are we going to guard this? Are we going to try to guard KD one-on-one? Are we going to switch this and allow James Harden to take a corner three and hope that we can close out? I would imagine that James Harden could get open like this all of the time out of the horn set. All right, it's just going to be about buying in. All right, and we see the same pistol action here. We see the same pistol action with James Harden. He's coming off the dribble handoff. He's attacking down the middle. All right, that's still a sense of him playing off ball out of the pistol action. All right, we can see that not only can he attack the basket out of the pistol action, he has a great step back move. Again, he has great individual ISO moves that he can use. So we know that if you're just sending one guy at James Harden, it's going to be extremely difficult to guard him. This is a guy where it takes 2 to 3 defenders to really slow him down. When he's with the Brooklyn Nets, most teams are not going to have the defensive prowess on the court at any time to guard KD, Kyrie, and James Harden with one individual offender. You're going to have to allow one of these guys to get open. All right, and then we see another set here. Another pistol action set. What do we see again here? We see James Harden with the great ability to play. This is 3 different ways he can score just off of pistol action. All right, running pistol was one of the easiest ways to transition right into horns, because all of your players fall right in line with it. And I think both of these teams run horns and they run a lot of pistol action. And I've just shown you 3 clips in a row where James Harden has drove to the basket off pistol, he's hit a step back 3 off pistol, and then he's also rejected the handoff, and he's cut backdoor off ball out of the pistol action to score 3 different ways. And if he's able to do that with the Rockets on a depleted team, imagine what these same sets will look like if he's running these same sets with the Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant on the floor at the same time. The floor spacing for this team is going to be unbelievable. All right, when we go back to the Brooklyn Nets, we have Bruce Brown bringing the ball up the court. All right, out of the horn set, he gives it to Jeff Green. All right, look at the off-ball actions. All right, and as we just saw right here, we just saw in those previous clips, remember how I told you guys how the pistol action mirrors horns. All right, they're very similar in nature. All right, so I want you to see how James Harden could be highly effective out of these sets, especially out of horns, which mirrors pistol action, which what James Harden loves. So we have Karis LeVert here. We're going to imagine and we're going to allow Karis LeVert to transition into James Harden just so we can kind of see how that looks. Allow the play to unfold. Karis LeVert is patient. He cuts, creates the spacing. And now, instead of Karis LeVert, now you're going to have James Harden cutting off that same action. All right, with multiple things that he can do. We just showed you he can hit the step back 3. He can get all the way to the rim for the layup, or he can cut off ball for the backdoor layup. We have another action right here. All right. You got DeAndre Jordan setting the pin down, Kevin Durant catching it. All right, it's Kevin Durant. And this is the same action that we saw earlier. All right, and we know that James Harden, as I showed you with the previous clips with Houston, has a knack for playing out of this set off ball. He loves to play out of horns or pistol sets off ball. And I've just showed you that because he can catch it on the go. All right, we're going to run that back really quick because now we're replacing a guy like Joe Harris, who's probably going to be relegated to the bench, with a James Harden, a much more elite offensive player. So we're going to run it back a little bit. And again, watch how the horns develops. All right, so we're going to KD. All right, same action as we saw before. Guard is going to cut down. He's going to cut to the corner, which is going to push Kyrie Irving through. DeAndre Jordan is going to leave. He's going to set the pin down on Davis Bertans. All right, now instead of Joe Harris catching this, we're transitioning that into that's James Harden catching it on the go now. All right, and we know he can get to the rim and score the ball with ease. He loves playing out of pistol and horn set. This is something that the Brooklyn Nets spam over and over and over again. All right, so we have another aspect of horns that we haven't spoken about, and this is the aspect of the skip pass. You know, where the point guard can use the horn set to attack the weak side. And again, when you got to remember, when you're dealing with a team like the Brooklyn Nets, now you have a three-headed monster to worry about. So if Kyrie Irving attacks one side of the court, that's going to shift the entire defense to that side of the court because of how dominant he is on the offensive end. You're not going to be able to cheat over. You're not going to have the ability to worry about what's going on the weak side. And as we see right here, if Kyrie Irving, and this is what I mean by these guys buying in, if Kyrie Irving buys in and becomes more of a willing passer and playmaker, that's one of the things that's going to make this offense go from great to becoming one of the greatest offenses that we've seen all time. We see him now, Kyrie Irving driving to this side of the court. He's already drawn a double team. All right, he's already bringing all the help to his side of the court. All eyes on Kyrie Irving. All eyes are on this side of the court. Strong side corner is covered. Kyrie Irving is double. Top of the key is one pass away. He's in that passing lane. All right. Imagine if this is James Harden on the weak side over here where Taurean Prince is. Taurean Prince is not the shooter that James Harden is. And what if it's James Harden getting that skip pass instead of Taurean Prince? All right. We know what James Harden is going to do if you have one guy on that weak side to guard him. He's going to knock the shot down. All right, we got Landry Shamet here. Again, out of another horn set. All right. Shamet's cutting to the corner. All right. Joe Harris sets the pin down, but he flashes up top. All right. We know that this is a similar set that James Harden has run. All right. And the same play here against the Lakers. The same play here against the Lakers. They spammed this multiple times against the Lakers in the playoffs. James Harden sets the pin down, cuts off the pin down, and he works with the ball from there. All right, same thing again off the ATO side out of bounds play. James Harden sets the pin down screen. And again, this is to dispel the myth that James Harden can't play off ball. I mean, I think that's something that people just say, but they don't really understand. James Harden he's one of the greatest scorers that we've ever seen in NBA history because he has extremely high offensive IQ. And the only thing that sometimes we see as fans is what he does with the ball because he's so great with the ball. And when he swings it across, we don't really pay attention to what he's doing. When he's the one that makes these plays work, you know, when he's giving full effort, we don't really pay attention to what he's doing off ball to make these plays develop. I'm going to run this play back again right here. All right, I'm going to run the same play back. So imagine if you have KD taking the ball out of bounds. All right, he's going to inbound the ball to PJ Tucker. Now, once he inbounds to PJ Tucker and James Harden, if James Harden is setting this pin, this back screen, the offense is automatically going to have all eyes on KD, because he's now the most immediate threat. But now you also have a James Harden who's coming off that back screen. It's going to look much different. So when James Harden sets the back screen, all right, if KD's cutting like that to the basket, defenses are going to have to pay a lot of attention to Kevin Durant. Now, James Harden is extremely smart right here because now he just opens up to the ball. He opens up to the ball and goes straight to the basket. All right, these are the types of things that they can do when they have 3 elite offensive players like this. And as y'all can see in all of these plays, they're spamming the same horn set over and over and over. And almost every single time, they can score in different ways. This is the same horn set. There's no set way to score out of it. This is read and react. And as long as you got high IQ offensive players out there, you're going to be great on offense. And that's where my biggest fears come with this team, because you're dealing with 3 guys: Kyrie, James Harden, and Kevin Durant. I don't care what you can say about their games negatively. The one thing that you have to admit when you're talking about these 3 players is that they are all-time elite offensively with offensive IQ. And if they figure it out, it's not going to look pretty for the Eastern Conference or the NBA. Here's another horn set with Shamet. All right, off ball. We got him coming off the screen. Bucket right there. Now imagine if that's, we're gonna watch the Rockets run that same play. All right, we're gonna watch them run that same play with Chris Paul. All right, swings it. All right, Chris Paul dives in. He cuts off the screen. And look at some of the actions they can run out of the horn set. I mean, it's just and imagine if this is DeAndre Jordan instead of Clint Capella. So you got Kyrie Irving, all right, coming off the same pin down curl out screen that we got Chris Paul doing. Sorry, I'm gonna run that back just a little bit more so we can watch that develop just a little bit more. All right. So Chris Paul's coming. He's running that same action, but this Kyrie Irving now. Imagine this Kyrie Irving. We know that James Harden can play off ball because he's doing it right here once again. James Harden is great at stealing his man out of position and being able to cut to the basket. And we know he's a great passer playmaker because what he does here is, and again, imagine Clint Capella's DeAndre Jordan. Same type of personnel. He cuts into the basket. Because he's James Harden, he's drawing 3 defenders towards him. And James Harden is a willing passer playmaker. He sees his big man cutting hard down the lane, lob, easy dunk. This is why Clint Capella looked great when he was in Houston. Right. Another same set right here. Again, this is where James Harden gets no credit. And I'm just breaking it down multiple times so you guys don't think it's just a coincidence or happens one time. We got James Harden, again, setting the screen. All right, he flares off the screen. He creates not just a mismatch with Jokic, but now he's also attracting another defender because his name is James Harden. All right. With the mismatch, he gets straight to the rim and he can score easily. Again, James Harden setting the off-ball screen, kicks right back out to him. He attracts everybody, but he's still able to score. Same thing again. James Harden sets the off-ball screen. Jeff Green kicks it out to him. Too much space. James Harden knocks down the open shot. Time and time again, the Houston Rockets are able to score easily because James Harden plays beautifully off ball. If you are one of those people that are a big proponent or fan of saying that James Harden can't play off ball and you don't think this is going to work in Brooklyn, you need to smack yourself. That's not the case. James Harden did not become this great offensively because he can't play off ball. All right. If you don't believe my footage, go watch plenty of games yourself. Pay attention to the pistol sets that he's put in. Pay attention to the horn sets that he was put in Houston. He plays beautifully off ball. And it's going to look even better if you put Hall of Fame talent around him. Now, I think Steve Nash and Mike D'Antoni can unlock something offensively that we've never seen in the NBA today. All right. And we know that James Harden, he has an affiliation and an affinity for Mike D'Antoni's offenses. We know that, as we can see here. Imagine if that's Kyrie Irving, and if we have Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant setting a double stagger for James Harden. Do you guys really understand offensively how many problems that could pose for teams? I really want you guys to see this. Do you know how worried coaches are going to be when they see this right here? This is James Harden bringing the ball up the court. And this is actually going to happen sometime. That pass right there, that's to initiate pistol action. All right. So he's initiating that with Kyrie. All right. Gives it to the big. James Harden comes back to get it. All right, imagine if they're playing a small ball lineup. Instead of this being Capella, that's Kevin Durant. Roll into the basket, and you still got Kyrie Irving in the strong side corner. All right, with James Harden with a head of steam going to the basket, able to kick it out instead of to a PJ Tucker to a Kyrie Irving, who's a magician on the offensive end of the court. Again, we see it here. Kyrie Irving off the horn set. KD is extremely patient with the ball, as you can see here, and he loves hitting shooters. Instead of Joe Harris, imagine if that's James Harden. All right, we got Kyrie Irving cutting off the big out of the horn set. James Harden attacking. What if James Harden is attacking off that horn set and he's hitting KD in the corner for a spot up three? Do I need to run that back for you guys again? Do I need to run this back for you again? The horn set in the NBA presents so many options without Hall of Fame scorers. Now we have 3 of those Hall of Fame scorers on the same team. I've already debunked and dispelled the notion that James Harden can't play off ball. We've seen Kyrie Irving play off ball with LeBron James. All right, and we know Kevin Durant can play off ball because we saw him do it in Golden State. All 3 of these guys can also bring the ball up the court and initiate the horn set in multiple positions. We're going to watch how this evolves. All right, and we're just going to kind of switch roles up a little bit. So now we have here at the elbow here, we're going to switch roles. All right, so we got Kyrie Irving coming off that pin down to get the ball. All right, we have Kevin Durant at the elbow setting the screen in the corner for James Harden. It's James Harden catching it now because I showed you guys this same play before in reverse. But instead of Kevin Durant actually attacking the basket, kicking it to Harden in the corner, you have Harden attacking the basket, kicking it to KD in the corner. And what if this is a night where KD is just cooking? How are y'all going to stop this? Are you not going to a double a James Harden when he's attacking the basket? Like what do you honestly do if you're a defense here when you're looking at the threats that are on the court? No, you're gonna have to contest that, and one player's not stopping KD. He's gonna hit that time and time again. I mean, we got another example of it. Harden, one-on-one. And that's the best thing about this offense, because one thing I think that Steve Kerr is going to do, I think he's going to give each player time individually to go one-on-one so we don't see those sloppy turnovers that you just saw. I think with substitutions, he's not going to allow his players to get worn down. Right? He's not going to allow them to get worn down. He's going to stagger some subs so that each player has time in the game by themselves to do what they need to do, which is ultimately going to allow this offense to run more effectively, especially in the fourth quarter. All right, we're going to watch these actions here, and again, this is what's going to start happening right here. All right, Kyrie's going to get his time in the game by himself, just like you see here with Kevin Durant off the court. He's going to get time in the game by himself to cook and do all his ISO moves through quarters 1 through 3. And then when the fourth quarter rolls around and you got all 4 of your studs back in the game, I keep telling you guys, as I said yesterday in the live stream, if somehow they figure it out and make this work, you're not going to be able to stop it. It's going to be unstoppable offensively. All right. When I did my research and when I looked at Houston's offense and when I saw that James Harden plays off ball 95% of the time out of the pistol set. James Harden plays off ball in Houston about 80% of the time out of the horn set. Then when I look at Brooklyn's offense, they're running horns 95% of the time. KD can play in the wing, in the deep corner. He can play as your big man in the post. He can play as your point guard. Versatility. So you don't have to worry about sticking a player in the same spot every time. Different scenarios in the game, different players who might have the hot hand that night, you can plug and play and put different players in different matchups that favor them. And the horn set allows you to do that. The horn set will allow you to put James Harden on the right side of the court where he thrives, and Kevin Durant on the left because he can score from anywhere on the floor. The horn set will allow you to attack one side of the court. If James Harden is missing shots and you need him to get an open basket, you can put him on the weak side. Allow Kyrie and KD to attack the strong side and give a good skip pass to the other side. And now James Harden has a wide open three to get going. Again, I'm just going to tell you guys now. You heard it here from FYF Sports first. You know, and you know, we bring the footage. You know, I'm not going to be a fanboy. I'm not going to sit here and just be a fanboy and just start ranting and raving saying, oh, this is going to be the greatest team of all time, because there is still the potential of this not working. There is still the potential of having chemistry and personality issues with Kyrie Irving and James Harden, even with KD. There's a potential of this completely exploding and this team does not pan out to be who we thought they were. There's a potential for them to be so bad on defense, it won't matter how many points they score on the offensive end of the court. On the flip side of that, there's also the potential that Mike D'Antoni and Steve Nash can unleash these guys. You know, there was each one of these players, KD, James Harden, and Kyrie Irving, at one point in time have all been the best individual scorer in the NBA in any given year. There has been certain years where KD was the best individual scorer. Then it was Kyrie. Then James Harden. They all can, with one person guarding them, they're unstoppable. And with the offense that they run, pistol action and horns, and they spam it over and over, as long as DeAndre Jordan can screen without fouling, all right, as long as Joe Harris can come in and be that fourth wheel to run the offensive effectively, the likelihood that they're going to be an offensive juggernaut is extremely high. And so I just want to prepare you guys for the fact that this is going to be one of the hardest teams in the NBA to guard. Not because you just got these three on the same team, because a coach can have these three players on the same team and completely bungle it. They can have these players on the same team and completely blow it altogether. If you're running the wrong offense, if you're trying to do too much, if you're trying to restrict them, if you're trying to slow the game down too much, you can blow it as a coach. But I think Steve Nash has done a great job of implementing a very basic offense that allows offensive freedom for these guys to use their basketball IQ to score the ball, as opposed to specific sets, because that's not how they play in Brooklyn. And unfortunately for the league, they have Mike D'Antoni, one of the greatest offensive minds of all time. Mike D'Antoni is one of the only coaches in the NBA that I've seen successfully run pistol action on a side out of bounds play, being creative with the spacing and personnel. I'm just, FYF Sports, man, I'm just here to break the news for you. So, I mean, if you do have the Lakers picked to win the championship, which I'm one of those people that do as well, you may need to be revisiting that. You may need to revisit and reevaluate that pick, especially if it starts to look as if these guys enjoy playing with each other and they're willing to sacrifice their stats, their overall stats, for the benefit of the team as a whole. But I want you guys to know, obviously this video is going to be live, live premiere. Let me know in the live chat, what do you think about the Brooklyn Nets offense and how James Harden can transfer directly into it? Did you guys really understand that breakdown? I know I didn't have a lot of time to really break down what the horn set actually was. Hopefully I did a good job of kind of transitioning players from like Joe Harris to either Kevin Durant or James Harden, showing you how out of these same actions they can all still be effective, just more effective. So again, let me know in the comments what you thought about that. Do you think the chemistry issues will override their actual skill sets and prevent them from winning? But again, just let me know what you think. We're probably going to talk about it a little bit more in the live stream. Again, we're getting to that stage where we've done enough criticism of James Harden. We've already criticized him for his action. We've already criticized Kyrie Irving for his action. I think it's time to move on now and just come to the reality that now all of these guys are going to be playing with each other. And we have to accept the reality that there's a very high likelihood that these three superstars can figure it out. And if they do figure it out, I think the Lakers' reign at the top of the league is going to be over. I don't think LeBron James can beat this team, even if he has an AD, even if he trades for another star. I don't think they have the firepower to beat this team. But again, let me know what you think in the comments. Bay is FYF Sportsman. Has been another great podcast video. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell to the video if you haven't done so already. We're grinding 20K subscribers, man. I cannot wait till we get to that threshold. Please, you guys, make sure we are donating to support the FYF Sports Community Basketball event. We're not even close to the donation goal of $5,000. I appreciate everybody that's donated to it so far. But we have to get to that $5,000 threshold by early February, or we're going to have to start pushing the date back. And I really don't want to do that. I really want to have this event in the summertime. I really want to make it during a time where there's a holiday, and I know people have time off of work to get down and make time to show up. So again, we got till about February 10th to raise the funds to make that happen. And again, give $1. Smash the like, hit the subscribe, do whatever you got to do to support the channel so we can make that happen. But we need to really lock in on this FYF Sports Community Basketball event to make it happen. The $5,000 will be matched by a sponsor that will turn into 10. I'll use some additional funds to help cover costs, but we got to meet those financial goals first so we can get a location reserved for the event. So again, we have our PayPal account up and running. If you do want to donate towards that event, or you just want to donate to the channel, make sure you hit us up in our PayPal. All right, that information is gonna be in the live chat. Is also gonna be in the comments. We also have Cash App as well that you could use. And if you're familiar with Zelle, you can also submit your Zelle payment to help support the FYF Sports Community Basketball event. But hey, it's been another great podcast video. Thank you guys for watching. We're going to be going live tonight as well to really cook up on this topic. Plus, we got NFL talk tonight. So make sure you're showing up tonight at FYF Sports, for the greatest and most live sports debates on YouTube. But it's FYF Sports. Another great podcast video. And we out.
Out in the morning, try and get to it. I'm a road runner. Plug on to me, gotta get him off. I'm a road runner. Been took the risk, cause I gotta eat. I'm a road runner. You see all this money, all my pockets full. I'm a road runner. Out in the morning, try and get to it. I'm a road runner. Plug on to me, gotta get him off. I'm a road runner. Been took the risk, cause I gotta eat. I'm a road runner. You see all this money, all my pockets full. I'm a road can't set a weight, gotta get to it. Plug throwing loads, always run through them. Ain't talking money, I'ma ignore them. Stack money, check my stats, I perform. Road running, switching states like I'm torn. Everything foreign, hopping out foreigns. Always been awkward, never did the norm. Bippin' try and win, then I go record. Ain't taking breaks, gotta get it all quick. Doing pickup, drop offs like live. Listen, now my game plan to get rich. Shooters on deck, know the haters set. Face high stakes, came through in the clutch. Put on work, never thought giving up. Run her wrong, then my shooters gon' bust. Risk it all, that's why I got drug my nuts.